What's up? All right, so it is 12/11/2012. Uh, Hopefully, the Mayan calendar isn't correct, and we still have more than a couple weeks to live. Um, in the middle of the room, you will find the early Explorers, the Age of Exploration packet. If you want to go ahead and grab that, that would be great. So I'll wait, let you pause. Get it, get it. Got it, got it. Good. All right, so now that you have it, let's go ahead and get our daily activity completed, and then you can get started on it. So again, the date 12/11/2012. Tomorrow will be 12/12/12. How often does that happen? I don't think so. But daily activity, no current event. The learning target is: who was the first explorer to circumnavigate the world? Basically, that means who was the first person to actually go all the way around the world, proving that the world was round. By the time this lesson is over, or hopefully, might not, but you can look through there and you can find it, or you can just Google it. All right. First of all, you'll see on the front here, you have the Pinta and the Nina, which were two of Christopher Columbus's ships that he sailed off on. I want you to do some research, and over here I want you to tell me the name of the third ship that is not identified there on the front. Off on the other side, I want you to describe each one of his ships. So the Nina, the Pinta, and, I ain't telling you, the one that you just had to research and find. So go ahead and get that done, and then move on. It says that there are 3 lessons here. Wait a second, I want to talk to you guys about something, okay? You guys ready? Now what's happening here, and I've pointed this out before, that you guys are moving on without finishing something first. So if you're still listening to this, and you haven't done what's on the front here, the research and the description of the 3 ships, you ain't doing it correctly. So get you some act right, pause it, take care of business, and then come on back. Now you hear? Alright, so again, there are only 3 lessons here, but we are only going to do 2 of them. We are going to spend today and tomorrow on lesson 1. We're going to spend Thursday and Friday on lesson 2. And then the following week, we have a final on Wednesday. So we will spend Monday and Tuesday studying, finishing a study guide. If there's any time that you can finish some things up, that'd be great. So, all right, so you should be on lesson 1, early explorations. Let's go ahead and get started. Make sure you got a highlighter, pen, a pencil, and you're following along with your finger, with the pencil, circling, highlighting, underlining, all those things. So hopefully by the end of lesson 1, you will be able to meet your objective, which is explain risks and rewards involved with exploration, explain differences in theory between Spain and Portugal, and the consequences for future generations. Roman numeral 1, the age of exploration. Why? Good question. Well, number 1 was economic gain. So they wanted to gain money. They wanted to gain monetary values. They wanted to gain anything that was going to be worth some kind of value. Letter A. After reading Marco Polo's book, Europeans wanted to trade with Asia. They're going to figure out that Asia has a lot of spices and goods there, and so they're going to want to find a way to get there so they can get those. Things. Right up above, I want you to describe who Marco Polo was, and I ain't talking about the water game. Marco Polo. I ain't talking about that game. And if you don't know that game, something wrong with you. All right, letter B. So hopefully you've described who Marco Polo was there for me. And now letter B. The land route to Asia was blocked by the Ottoman Turks' conquest of the Holy Land in the 14th century. So what they could have done is, since they lived in Europe, they could have just walked over there, or just traveled over there. However, the Ottoman Turks were there, and they were very violent, and so they had to find another way of going there, which was westward. Letter C, Europeans also hoped to find gold in Asia, so they wanted the gold. A lot of stories were made about all this gold that was located in the Americas. However, a lot of times that was never found. Letter D, Europeans hoped to add territory to their lands as well. So European countries wanted to find more land. And anytime you had more land, you had more power, more wealth. And next thing you know, you're like Sean Willie. Bong it! So what is another reason why they wanted to explore? Number 2, religion. Spreading the Catholic faith was another powerful reason to explore new land. So they wanted to convert people, because obviously, if you think that your religion is the correct one, you want to save as many people as possible. So they wanted to go over and convert people, which had a lot to do with the Inquisition, which we didn't get an opportunity to talk about. Letter 3, or number 3, not letter 3. Number 3. I want you to change this. I call it the 3 G's. It's just easier to remember. So what were the reasons why people wanted to explore? Change these to God, glory, and gold. Okay, so that's what you got to do there. 4. There were a lot of innovations made or inventions made for sailors to move out of sight of the coastline and made intercontinental trade possible. Such inventions or innovations included the compass, the astrolabe, the portolans, and the caravel. What I want you to do is I want you to identify what each one of these are, and then I want you to draw me a picture of each one. So right off over here, you go ahead and research that, and then you draw me a picture as best as possible. Some of you guys have been doing pretty well drawing. You guys are some good artists. Now on the other hand, there's some ones that aren't so good. Ain't gonna mention no names. I ain't like that. I'm a nice guy. I'm a teacher. Alright, Roman numeral 2. You have Portugal leads the way. Much of the success of the Portuguese in their early sailing ventures is credited to Prince Henry the Navigator. His schools developing navigational knowledge, maps, sails, and ship designs put Portugal on the cutting edge of sailing technology in the 15th century. Portugal was the first European country to venture out on the Atlantic Ocean in search of spices and gold, especially down the west coast of Africa in search of a sea route to Asia. In 1488, an expedition led by Bartholomew Diaz discovered the southern tip of Africa, later named the Cape of Good Hope. His voyage proved that ships could reach East Asia by sailing around Africa. In 1497, 4 ships led by Vasco da Gama sailed from Portugal for India, landing 10 months later in Calicut on the southwest coast of India. Before we move on, what I'd like for you to do is I want you to go to, for the unit exam I should know, I want you to look up the outline map of the world, and I want you to draw Europe as best as you can, and then I want you to draw the Americas as best you can. Also Africa. So I want you to research and look at the outline map of the world, and I want you to use this bottom half and best represent Africa, Europe, and the Americas, because I'm going to have you identify a lot of these areas that we're talking about, and I'm going to have you draw a few of the actual routes that the explorers took. Spain's quest for riches, which is on the next page here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have you guys, after you get done drawing that map, a couple things I want you to do. On that map, I want you to identify where the Atlantic Ocean is. I want you to locate the Cape of Good Hope on your map. I want you to identify where Calicut was or is. And that's it so far. I think that's where we're going to stop today. I'm not sure if I gave you too much or not enough time, but we'll figure it out. So we are going to finish this up tomorrow. So let's see here. If you go over to the Lesson 1 review, you'll be able to answer question 1 through 5. You can answer questions 6 and 7, and then you can wait for the rest. So you should have gotten to Roman numeral 3. You should have did some things on the front. You should have drawn a map of, or outline map of the world, but only Africa, Europe, and the Americas, sorry. And identified some of those places and then answered some of the questions on the Lesson 1 review 1 through 7. So there you go. We'll finish Lesson 1 tomorrow. If you're not done with that Medieval Europe packet or Renaissance and Reformation, and you have all this finished, just ask. You can get that done. Make sure your daily activities are handed in. Make sure you got that mini DDQ done. A lot of things, folks. Get it done. Holla at you. Boom.